गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. ओम ओम नारायण. We were discussing the three adjectives to Adhyasa. Out of them, two we have discussed. The third one, according to Anandagiri. Okay? In fact, Swamiji's explanation of three adjectives were discussed, were explained. Only others, Anandagiri's explanation, he makes it little complicated. Simple reason. He makes it very, very complicated. Why? Why does he make it complicated? Simply because the reason is simple. He doesn't see Adhyasa as a vidya. That's all. Bhashyakara is telling Adhyasa is avidya, but they have got another concept other than Adhyasa, but Bhashyakara is telling Adhyasa is avidya. Now, when they find it is totally contradictory, so they are trying to twist the words. That's all. The Anandagiri's explanation is twisting. Why is he twisting? Not that he wants to twist. He has a different concept, and his concept of avidya is not fitting in Bhashyakara's concept. Naturally, Bhashyakara's words have to be twisted to suit his own concept. Anybody would do the same thing. Therefore, it is not any defect. The defect is not in twisting, the defect in their concept of avidya. When you have your own concept of avidya, which is different from Bhashyakara, then the Bhashyakara's word won't suit you. Now you have to twist his words to suit your explanation. That's a simple. That is as simple as this, because that's the only reason. Now, what he says is, let us see, Mithya pratyaya. How does he say? Mithya karana adhyaso hi karyadhyasasya heturiti adhyasasya mithya pratyayatvam ityarthaha. Mithya pratyaya, here Anandagiri's explanation, even I get confused. 10 times I read, 10 times I forget, because it is an unnecessary hypothesis, non-existent. So as a concept I have to memorize it. Again I tend to forget. Again I have to memorize it. I have to tend to forget. So I already noted down, I'll just read out. Because it's a non-existing, meaningless concept they have. So I have to memorize simply. See Mithya Pratyaya, how he explains. Mithya Pratyaya. Pratyaya is a notion. Mithya is a false notion, a wrong misconception. This is a simple explanation. But according to his concept of avidya, he has to interpret the word Mithya Pratyaya differently. How? He has to say Mithya Pratyaya as referring to Mula Vidya, not to Adhyasa. Mithya Pratyaya is referring to Mula Vidya. How? Pratyaya is an open word notion. Pratyaya means notion. Mithya is a false notion, a wrong notion. It is a simple, straight word. It is a wrong notion, misconception. Now they have to apply it to avidya, Mula Vidya. Pratyaya has to be twisted. Mithya has to be twisted. Every word has to be twisted. Because it has to, the word has to suit their own concept. So the Mula Vidya is also called as a Mithya Pratyaya Rupa. Therefore, Mithya Pratyaya Rupa in the form of a misconception. Now what they say is, Mula Vidya is in the form of misconception. No, Mula Vidya is in the form of Mithya Pratyaya. How can Mula Vidya be Mithya Pratyaya? They explain like this. Karana adhyaso hi karya adhyasasya heturiti adhyasasya Mithya Pratyayatvam. Adhyasa becomes Mithya Pratyaya because it is the material cause of misconception. See how they take the word Mithya. The very word Mithya, which simply means a wrong, a false knowledge, a wrong thinking. They use the word mithya referring to the Mula Vidya, a material substance. So mithya, because it is a material cause of misconception, it is a material cause of adhyasa. Since it is this causal avidya that modifies into misconception, is called mithya pratyaya. So mithya is a material. I don't know whether you understand or you get confused or you get amused with it, but I have to explain. Some technical word. Mithya is a material substance, that is Mula Vidya. Pratyaya means it appears. Pratyaya means it appears, means it changes. See, the material cause gets modified. Where is that rupa? Pratyaya means getting modified. They give any meaning to any word. Because you have to derive your concept from the non-existing words, from the words which mean something else. Therefore, they have to use like that. And they call it as a deeper meaning, and you need a great scholar to be able to understand these things, because we are taking a deeper meaning. All so-called deeper meanings are only impositions, over-interpretations, outside. That means you are stretching it to mean your own petty idea in it. That's all it means. Not only here, I am talking in general, anywhere. Anywhere where you find that the words are not suitable to you, you twist them so much. There are many examples like this. I think we should make around on the 2050 or 2050 examples of how they are twisting, not only in Vedanta but in other places also. In Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, in Ayodhya Kanda, there is one shloka which refers to Shiva. There Ramachandra, while coming back on the Pushpaka Vimana, along with Sita, Hanuman, Lakshmana and everybody, he is introducing to Sita, because Sita was absent at that time when they came to Lanka. They built the what you call the Setu. Setu means the bridge over that Samudra. Setu over the Samudra. That time Sita was not there. Therefore he is telling, say, this is the place where I stayed. This is the place we built the Setu. This is the bridge we crossed. And from the Vimana is at a small distance on the earth alone. You can see visible, things are visible. It is not our Vimanas. For our Vimanas, nothing is visible. When you go to the height, you got. But as the Vimana is flying, only at just a small distance in the sky, everything is visible on the earth. Therefore, Rama was explaining everything. See, this is this thing, this is this. At one point he says, Atra Purvam Mahadevaha Prasadam Akarot Prabhu. This is the place where Bhagavan Shiva, Mahadeva, has blessed us. So, taking that shloka, our Pauranikas have later explained that Sri Rama established Shivalinga and did puja. That is called Rameshwara. Because Vaishnavas don't want to see Rama as a devotee of Shiva. Therefore, they have to change the shloka referring to something else. Mahadeva word is clearly there. Here, Mahadeva has blessed us. Mahadeva is Shiva. It is referring to Shiva. So, they don't want this shloka referring to Shiva. So, the Mahadeva word, they change it to as applicable to Samudra. They say it is the sea that has blessed Rama. How? Mahadeva, how do you apply it? Now you have to test it. Use all your grammar, all your everything and test it. Atra Purvam Mahadevaha, Puru Am Mahadevaha. A large store of water. God, who is in a form of large store of water. You twist the whole word to mean that it refers to Samudra. Like this, there are very strange derivations, very strange twistings. You find in our Shastras here and there, some people have attempted, when it doesn't suit their own petty concepts. I think we have to make a list of some of them, so that you will feel, just for you entertaining you, just for amused, how people can indulge. Because they have no other way. They have to indulge. Because you have got a strange concept and it doesn't fit in, you have to twist it. So here he says, Mithya Pratyayaha. Coming back to our Adhyasa point that you leave it Ramayana. Mithya Pratyayaha. Mithya is a material, but Mithya doesn't mean material. Mithya means simply false. Now how they take it, it is a Mula Vidya, something material substance. Then Pratyaya means perception. Pratyaya means a knowledge. Pratyaya means a knowledge, a perception, an understanding. How Pratyaya means, how he twists it. Pratyayatva means lakshanaha tat rupyate na pratiyate. It is not appearance, it modifies into something. Simple appearance, how he twisted into, it modifies into something. A material substance modifies to something. This is the meaning of Mithya Pratyaya. See, it's just totally nothing. There is no meaning in it. You are all imposing non-existing meaning in it. That's all. Mithya Pratyayanam Rupam Anirvachatyam Yasya Satataita Nirvachatvam Va Uchyate. Another meaning gives. Mithya Pratyaya means inexplicable. Sadasadbhyam Anirvachanayam, neither existing, non-existing. This is a second meaning. Or Athava, third meaning. All the meanings are equally distinct only. Yadva mithya bhuta akhanda jadashakti tan matratvena adhyaso mithya pratyayo rupyate. Then mithya means, what you say, mithya bhuta akhanda jashakti. I don't know what he means it. Let me see. Third meaning, or the notion of superimposition is fashioned by a partless, no. No. Fashioned by a partless or indivisible insentient power which is indefinable, because an effect has no form independent of its form. Same thing. Is using another grammatical explanation, but the meaning, their concept is same. So the mithya bhuta akhanda shakti. So the false infinite power produces itself, produces an adhyasa this way. Either produces or modifies. All these explanations mean Mula Vidya. Okay. Now it is enough Mula Vidya. I think if you want, I have written in English, you can read it. We are going to publish the book anyway. So it is the same thing, is only going round and round and unnecessarily explained. Karanadhrutya karyasya rupamasti. So a karyam is another form of karana. An effect is another form of its cause. Therefore, it is the Mula Vidya alone is existing in the form of Adhyasa. Iti bahuda vikalpa mithya pratyaya rupatvam vyachakya. Like this mithya pratyaya rupa, he is giving three interpretations to this mithya pratyaya rupa. All the three mean Mula Vidya. Therefore, Swamiji says, thus Anandagiri is doing many alternative meanings. Bahuda vikalpya. Bahudha vikalpya andre making many alternative meanings, imagining many alternative meanings, all of them applicable to Mula Vidya and none of them applying to Adhyasa. When he is imagining many alternative meanings, at least one of them could be Adhyasa. Then we can say, okay, at least in one of his many meanings, he is accepting Adhyasa. No, there is no meaning of Adhyasa. All the three are Mula Vidya. Okay, now Anandagiri explanation is over. Coming to another explanation. Aparetu mithya maya. Another is, who is the another one? Ratnaprabha. Govindananda Saraswati is an author of Ratnaprabha. Ratnaprabha, the commentary Ratnaprabha on complete Brahma Sutra, according to Vivarana tradition, came after Anandagiri. He adopts Anandagiri. Some places he modifies, some places adds, some places gives up. He adopts Anandagiri Tika, but slightly modifies. That's all. It is a little updated form of Anandagiri is called Ratnaprabha. So that Ratnaprabhakara, author of Ratnaprabha, explains this Mithya Pratyaya Rupa in this way. Mithya means Maya. Mithya simply means false. Now they take Mithya is only a simply falsity. Mithya means falsity. Now they are taking mithya to mean Mula Vidya. Maya. Mithya is Mula Vidya. Taya pratiyate iti pratyayaha. Due to that Mula Vidya, something appears. Karya prapanchaha. What is pratyaya? Mithya is Mula Vidya according to them, according to Ratnaprabha. Then pratyaya means prapancha. Mithya pratyayaha means a prapancha modified, a Mula Vidya modified into a world. So this is the explanation. Iti prapanchaha tat pratitischa ityevan swarupaha. The world and its appearance, these two are the products of Mula Vidya. Iti mithya pratyaya rupatvam varnayamasa. Now it's enough. Anandagiri's 3 explanations, Ratnaprabha's 1 explanation. Now we got these 4 explanations. I have explained enough. We leave them. We'll proceed to Swamiji's refutation. How Swamiji refutes their explanation. Tadetat sarvam vyakhyana jalam. All this entire host of explanations. Vyakhyana jalam. Jalam means this entire host of explanations, 4 explanations of mithya pratyaya. All this karya karana adhyasa dvaya nirakaranena, there is no, all this explanation gets refuted by our straight, one basic refutation. What is that? Adhyasa is not in 2 forms, karana, karya. They say Mula Vidya is a karana and Adhyasa is a karya. Now we say Avidya doesn't have 2 forms. Causal form Avidya, effect form Avidya, the product form Avidya. Causal form, product form, we have no 2 form, there is only just Adhyasa. So by refuting these 2 kinds of Avidya, all their explanation of Anandagiri and Ratnaprabha get refuted. Okay. Karya karanadhyasadvaya nirakaranena anarvachaniya vastu utpatti nirakaranena cha. Second point is anirvachaniya vastu utpadyate. Prapancha is anirvachaniya, vastu indefinable substance, and it is produced by Mula Vidya. These 2 we have refuted long before in the Sugama only. In the beginning of Sugama we have refuted how there cannot be anirvachaniya utpatti production, an indefinable production of the world. All that is a speculation alone. It is an unnecessary imagination. Cha karanena cha nirakruta prayam. All this gets refuted with our earlier explanation in the beginning of Adhyasa, beginning of Sugama. We have explained that. So we don't have to say. First thing is their very assumption that there is Mula Vidya itself is wrong. And Mula Vidya modifying into the world is again another wrong. Because there is no modification, nobody has seen. Modification involves a time and place. One substance modifies into another within time and place. When the time and place, all the world and objects, everything is within Adhyasa. How can you imagine that Adhyasa is a product of Mula Vidya? That is a just unnecessary speculation. That was refuted before. Now we don't need it again. Okay. Yadyapi aviveka nibandhana eva adhyasa iti बीजांकुरादिवत अविद्याकृत संसारः आत्मनि क्रियाकारक फलाध्यारोपण लक्षण अनादिरनंतो अनर्थः इति च ब्रूता. भाष्यकारेणापि कार्यकारणाविद्याद्वयमप्यङ्गीकृतमिव लक्ष्यते. Oh, this is the point. Misunderstood. Now, shall I tell you? It becomes very complicated. People feel hurt if I say this thing. But anyway, I'll just tell indirectly, not directly. Okay, but the idea has to be explained. I'll explain indirectly without referring to anybody's name. Okay. Now, Bhashyakara simply says There is adhyasa due to not knowing it, due to aviveka. Aviveka means not able to distinguish, not able to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. Simply, there is a indiscrimination. Indiscrimination means confusion. Just due to confusion, you find there is an adhyasa. Or indiscrimination, the lack of viveka is not previous to adhyasa. Simply he told there is adhyasa in the condition of indiscrimination, aviveka. But they people take aviveka as a cause which existed before adhyasa, and first thing is putting adhyasa as an event in time, as a product in time, and also in time something happens, a cause and effect. This whole explanation itself is unwarranted, and it is against Bhashya, against Anubhava, and against everything. It is totally wrong. So, Bhashyakara simply told, due to aviveka, there is no viveka, and therefore you find that there is an adhyasa. Just because he told, due to aviveka there is adhyasa, here it should not be taken that before adhyasa there was something, and that something has caused adhyasa. This karya-karana bhava Bhashyakara doesn't imply. Then what he says is, when there is adhyasa, there is aviveka. If you do viveka, adhyasa would not have been there. Since we are not doing viveka, we are continuing in that misunderstanding. Wherever there is a misunderstanding, take it in general. Wherever there is a misunderstanding, there is a lack of inquiry. There is a lack of clear thinking, that's all. He means due to lack of clear thinking, owing to lack of clear thinking, owing to lack of discrimination, you find adhyasa. Here, Bhashyakara, though he says like that, he doesn't mean karya-karana bhava. It doesn't mean cause and effect relationship. He means simply that adhyasa, when adhyasa is there, you have no viveka, you have not done discrimination. That's all it means. So if you do discrimination, adhyasa would not be there. That's all he means. So instead of taking it this way, they put it really a causal sequence, a time-bound sequence of previous state and later state. Previous state is Mula Vidya, Aviveka, and later state is Adhyasa. This kind of too much of stressing unnecessary. Okay. So here, Bhashyakara in Brihadaranyaka refers to something where he says, Bijankuradivat avidyakrita samsara. Samsara is like bija and ankura. Ankura is a sprout, bija is a sprout. You can say sprout, or you can say a seedling. Seed and seedling, or seed and sprout. Bija and ankura. Ankura is a sprout, bija is a seed. So bija, a seed, produces a sprout, and sprout grows and becomes a plant, and it produces seed. Okay. So this bijankura nyaya means there is a series of seed produces a seedling, seedling produces the seed, seed again produces seedling, like the alternative seed and seedling, seed and seedling. Okay, this alternative sequence. This alternative sequence, bijankuradivat avidyakrita samsaraha. Samsara becomes vyakta in the prapancha sthiti, avyakta in unmanifest state. Again, vyakta, 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 manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. It goes on endlessly. So this statement Bhashyakara refers to. So samsara. Samsara is like plant and its seed. Seed produces a plant. Plant again produces a seed. Plant dies and it produces the seed. The seeds, you sow them, they again grow into plants. The plants, once they produce the crop, they die, because these are the seasonal crops. They produce seeds and they get wiped out, they die. They are not perennial trees, annual plants alone. Not even annual, maybe few months, 4 to 6 months they live, and they produce the crop, produce the grain, and they die. Other only big trees alone will live for many years. Okay. So Bhashyakara is telling here in Brihadaranyaka Vakya, samsara consists of seed and plant. Plant produces seed, seed produces the plant, and it goes on the sequence. Taking this, some people say, Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, Bhashyakara has accepted Mula Vidya. See, does it accept Mula Vidya? They try to interpret. Kriyakaraka phaladhyarokshanaha anadirananto anartaha. It is anadi anantaha anartaha. Iti cha bruvata bhashakarenapi karyaka. By this statement of Bhashyakara, some people felt that, see, Shankaracharya also has accepted Mula Vidya. See, Mula Vidya is producing Adhyasa, and then again Avidya and Adhyasa, again Avyakta, Vyakta, Vyakta, Vyakta. Therefore, seeds act. Iti angikritamiva lakshate namarupe tattvanyattvabhyam nirvachaniya iti bruvata anirvachaniya paribhasha cha. No. This is a misreading of Bhashya. Bhashyakara doesn't mean this. Shall I tell you? One of our Sachidananda Swamiji's follower only was telling that in Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, Bhashyakara has accepted what? Arthadhyasa. Mula Vidya Arthadhyasa he has accepted. Our own follower, our Swamiji's follower, somebody was telling. So I was surprised and I wanted to ask. There was no time and the time went off. Recently again, I took interest to ask, find out. Where does he find it? Probably this is what he means. But here, Bhashyakara is talking of the samsara, not of Adhyasa. Samsara within Adhyasa. Like you birth and death and birth and death. Like this world appears and disappears, appears and disappears. Both this appearance and disappearance is within Adhyasa. This is what Bhashyakara says. Therefore, in this Brihadaranyaka Vakya, there is no Mula Vidya. There is no Arthadhyasa. Okay? Some people have misread into it. That's what Swamiji is pointing out. It looks that this Vyakhyanakara has a support in Bhashya. No. Bhashya doesn't support them. Tatapi avidyadhyasayor upadana upadeya bhavo avidya parinamena anirvachaniya jnanagneya yor janischa adhunatana vedantya upadishto naiva acharya abhishtaha iti pragega aveditam mitya virodhaha. This we have already stated before, Swamiji says. What is that? Karya Karana Bhava doesn't exist. Karya Karana Bhava itself is experienced due to avidya, but in the absence of avidya, you can't think of even, you can't even imagine of Karya Karana Bhava. Okay. I shall underline Swamiji's reply. Avidyadhyasayoh upadana. Just a minute. I shall underline it. Avidyadhyasayor upadana upadeya bhavo avidya parinamena nirvachaniya jnana gneyayor janischa adhunatana vedanta upadishto maivamacharya abhishtaha. ಹೀಗೆ ಅವಿದ್ಯ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಗುವುದು ಭಾಷ್ಯಕಾರ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಮೀನ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಓಪನ್ಲಿ ಈ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸಂಸಾರ. Samsara means Srishti Pralaya, Janma Marana. He only means that. It doesn't mean Adhyasa is produced, he doesn't mean it. It's a wrong reading, wrong way of reading Bhashya Vakya. This is what he said. Tasmat Anadir Ananto Mithya Pratyaya Rupa Ityasya Yatahashrata. That's why ultimately conclusion is, let us take the meaning, straight away meaning of the Bhashya and not twist it. The twisted meaning doesn't suit. Therefore, take the direct meaning and this suits. And this is in keeping with Anubhava. Therefore, this alone is right. Swamiji ultimately gives a conclusion. Okay. Tasmad anadiranantaha mithya pratyaya rupa ityasya ythashrutaha evartaha na kaschid apurvaha kalpaniyo ityalam vistarena. It's enough of unnecessarily refuting those Vyakhyanakaras who unnecessarily misinterpret Bhashya. Okay. We just leave them with it. It is enough now. We'll let us proceed with the another topic. Okay. 59th topic. Now, Adhyasasya kartatva bhroktutva pravartakaha. In Adhyasa, Bhashyakara, we are discussing the final point of Adhyasa. He gave few adjectives. One is Anadirananta, second is Naisargika, third is Mithya Pratyaya Rupa, fourth is Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Pravartaka, fifth is Sarvaloka Pratyaksha. All these 5 adjectives were discussed elaborately in Adhyasa Bhashya. Having discussed it, in conclusion, he is summarizing all these 5 qualities of Adhyasa. See, Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Pravartakaha, this Adhyasa brings about, Pravartaka means brings about agency of action, Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam, enjoyership. So, the doership and enjoyership, that means a Jiva Bhava and Prapancha, all this is produced by avidya, adhyasa. Adhyasa itself makes a person karta bhokta. You don't have to imagine certain other karana bhuta. This is what simply Swamiji told. Sarvaloka pratyakshaha. It is self-evident to all. Sarvaloka pratyakshaha means it is self-evident to everybody. Okay. 59th point. Ukta adhyasasya anartha hetutam avishkartum visheshanam kartrutva bhoktrutva pravartaka. This adhyasa is the cause of samsara, is a suffering. What is that? Karta bhokta himself is a suffering. The very thought of kartrutvam. Kartrutvam bhoktrutvam is due to adhyasa. Uktam etad yatyata jnatrutvam tavad adhyasa pratyupasthapitamiti. The very jnatrutvam is due to adhyasa. Then how can you say karta bhokta is outside atma? So kartrutva bhoktrutvam also is due to adhyasa only. Jnatrutvam tavat adhyasa pratyupasthapitamiti yena jnana kartrutvavat sarva kriya kartrutvam api adhyasikamithyuktameva bhavati. Jnana kartrutvavat savikriya kartrutvam api adhyasikamityuktameva bhavati. Therefore, just as a jnana kartrutvam means jnatrutvam, when jnatrutvam is also swabhavika adhyasa, kartrutva bhoktrutva is also due to adhyasa alone. There we don't need to say anything more. We have said it already. It is a concluding adhyasa. We have already said all this. More elaborately we discussed. Sarva kriya kartrutvam, all agency, whether jnana, karma, everything, all agencies are only due to adhyasa. Okay, jnana purvakatvat sarvasam kriyana. All kriyas, all movements are due to adhyasa. Jnata hi bhahyavastishu shobhana adhyasa purvakam tatra ichchadvesha prayuktaha kriyasu pravartate. Jnata means jiva. The jnatru jiva, the knower jiva, cognizer jiva, what does he do? He has got an attachment. He has got a positive opinion about the worldly pleasures and objects. They are useful. They give you money. They do some things. Every object has its own power, its own capacity. Therefore, he says we should study Bhashya. We should study Vedanta, which tells that there is a Shobhana Adhyasa. That means when you look upon things as useful, good and useful, some are bad, some are good. This idea of good and bad, referring to about the objects, is due to adhyasa only. Prayuktaha kriyat. So, he is prompted by this shobhana adhyasa, means he has got a good opinion about worldly objects. Some are good, some are bad. You have an evaluation, you have an opinion about worldly objects. And those worldly objects, impel you to act accordingly. भोक्तृत्वं च सुखदुःखसंवेदनलक्षणम् इच्छाद्वेषयोः सर्वानर्थकारणयोः प्रयोजकम्. ज्ञातृत्वं leads person, pushes person into kartrutvam. But bhoktritvam also bring about all kinds of sufferings. How? Sukha, dukkha, samvedana, lakshanam, ichchadveshayoh. See, ichchadvesha. Due to raga dvesha, sukha, dukkha, etc. he comes to experience. Okay. Tadevam कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्व रूपमात्मनो न स्वाभाविकं यथाहुर्नैयायिकादयः. I think this point we'll discuss in the next class, and we'll proceed with the last portion. Okay, it's coming to an end. Last chapter. With the last chapter, Sugama will be over. Just one small point is there, or shall I do completely right now? There is nothing much. Just a minute. Tadapi bhoktritvam dehendriyantaka. Kartrutvam, jnatrutvam is due to adhyasa because he identifies with sense organs. Then kartrutvam is also due to identification with the body and sense organs and mind. Bhoktritvam also same, is due to identifying with their body, mind and sense organ. Eva vishayeshu pravrittasya upapadyate ityadhyasa. Without adhyasa, you can't take body, mind and sense organs as yourself. And without taking yourself body, mind and sense organs, you won't become bhokta. Isn't it? You can't be karta bhokta without identifying with body, mind and sense organs. Therefore, that identification is adhyasa. Due to adhyasa alone, kartrutva bhoktrutvam. Okay, kartrutva bhoktrutva pravartakaha. That means I am a karta, I am not really karta. I am sakshi, nirvikara, changeless. Yet I take myself to be a karta bhokta. It is only a notional. That I am a karta bhokta is a simple notion. Actually, nobody is karta, nobody is bhokta. You only think that you are a karta, you only think that you are a bhokta, that's all. The thinking has to be understood. Okay. So, tadevam kartrutva bhoktrutva swarupam atmano na swabhavikam. Therefore, karta bhokta is due to adhyasa, it is not nature to atma. Naiyayikas say atma is karta, atma is bhokta by his very nature. No, atma by his in his real nature is not karta bhokta. In his adhyasa, in his wrong thinking, he thinks he is a karta bhokta. This is the basic idea. Therefore, but Naiyayikas have misunderstood here. Kimtu Atma Swarupa Jnana Bhavena Atadrupe Tasmin Adhyaropitameva iti Tadapanayana Samsara Heyo Nanyatavhiprayaha. If Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Samsara is due to Adhyasa, it is easy to give up. Adhyasa means what? Falsely you are thinking, in fact you are not. If it were only due to my wrong thinking, it is easy to get rid of. If my samsara was real, getting rid of becomes impossible. But if it is only due to my wrong thinking, it is a misconception, better correct it and you will become free. That's all. In fact, when you say that samsara is due to adhyasa, you have a hope of becoming free. Because it is only a wrong thinking will be corrected and it will become free. Nacha Bhashyakara's Vakya, he quotes one, Nacha anabhipagammane jnanagamme brahmatma tattve kartutva bhoktrutva swabhavasya atmanaha kaivalyamakangshitam shakyam. Kartutva bhoktrutva is not real nature. There is no moksha in it, there is only samsara in it. Ajnaushnavat swabhavasya apariharyatvat. If it were real nature of Atma, by doing no amount of effort, no amount of sadhana, you can get rid of samsara if it were really there. Okay. Now the next point is 60th point. One sentence is there, two sentences. Adhyasasya sarva anubhava siddhyata. Sarvaloka pratyakshaha. Bhashyakara uses one more adjective, sarvaloka pratyakshaha. Anadiranantaha one. Ananta is 2. Naisargikaha. No, Ayajanantaha, okay. Naisargika is number 2. Mithya Pratyaya Rupaha is number 3. Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Pravartakaha number 5. Then Sarvaloka Pratyakshaha is 5th. Okay. So all other 4 are explained. On the last one, Sarvaloka Pratyaksha has to be explained. Now he says, Bhashya here, Swamiji says, Sarvaloka Pratyakshaha ityadhyasasya. Sarvanubhava siddhatva. Sarva loka means Manusha. Sarvaloka Pratyaksha. It is self-evident in everybody's experience. That means no room for dispute. When it is everybody's experience, why would anybody dispute? So, Sarvanubhava siddhatvat tatra pramana anveshana vyartha prayasa ityaha. Therefore, pramana, by trying to establish through pramana, is meaningless. Because Atma is, Adhyasa is swabhavika. Pramanas appear due to Adhyasa. Therefore, pramanas can't show anything. So, nacha adhyasam vinano hopadyate darshitam prak. So, all this we have shown before. Now, I don't want to repeat and proceed it. Mimamsavatarnika bhashyam. The last portion of Sugama. Asya anartha heto prahanaya atmaikatva vidya atmaikatva pratipattaye sarve vedantaha arabhyante. I give the simple bare meaning of this last 2 sentences of Adhyasa Bhashya so that we can give explanation later. Asya anartha hetoha prahanaya. To remove this anartha hetu. What is anartha? Samsara. Kartrutva bhoktrutva is anartha. What is the hetu of anartha? What is the cause of anartha? Adhyasa. Prahanaya, to destroy this adhyasa, which is the cause of anartha, that is kartrutva bhoktrutva rupa anartha. Okay. And atmaikatva vidya pratipattaye, to gain the knowledge of atma ekatva, to gain the knowledge of oneness of Atman. Sarve Vedantaha arabhyante, ಎಲ್ಲ ವೇದಾಂತಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ಶುರುವಾಗಿವೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಗುರಿ ಇದೊಂದೇ ಹೊರತು ಮಿಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನೇ ಗುರಿಯಾಗಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ. ಮಿಕ್ಕದು ಏನಾದರಿದ್ದರೂ ಅದು ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ. ಓಕೆ. ಯಥಾಚ ಅಯಮರ್ಥಃ, ಈ ಅರ್ಥವು and how this meaning fits in, we shall show sarvesham vedantanam. We shall show in all the Upanishads and also here in the Brahma Sutra. Asyam sharirika mimamsayam pradarshaishyama. We shall show how this is the real purport of entire Vedanta. What is that? By removing the avidya and understanding oneself to be mukta atma. Because there is no kartrutva, bhoktrutva and all these things. Okay. Now this 9th point, last chapter, meaning we'll discuss tomorrow. That is a 61, from 61 to 72. That means around 10 or 11 passages concludes. Okay. We'll see in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om Tat Sat.